Yep.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to another live Vikings Uncensored. We have reached the final weekend of NFL football for the 2024 season as of course, the Super Bowl taking place down in New Orleans on Sunday between the Kansas City Refs and the Philadelphia, I can't think of a good name for them, but the asshole fan base.
Fuck Philly. I hate
put it
Philly.
that way. But, we're not in it, so we're just watching it just because it's football and because it's the last game we're going to get to see for 6 months. But there's a lot of other stuff going on, namely free agency right around the corner. Last week we talked about anybody else rooting for the Meteor? Yes, Nick. Yogi, good evening. Long time no see, my friend. Norsefius is here, damn it.
I like his tagline there. I'm here, damn it.
I am here, damn it. Well, we do it at 9 o'clock just for you, Norsefius. So thank God you're here.
I was up your way today. Had to get an oil change there at Cruise.
Philadelphia. There we go. I like that one.
Philadelphia. That's good. That's good.
Hey, we like the intro. It's a little bit different than everybody else does, and we try to be a little bit different. But yeah, of course, free agency right around the bend here, about a month away. So main thing tonight we're going to be taking a look at is the potential free agents out there that the Minnesota Vikings could be interested in. Like I said, last week we went through everybody on the current roster that is a pending free agent. So obviously some of those guys are going to have to be replaced. Some upgrades depending upon which positions we're looking at, things like that. So we got a lot of guys to take a look at tonight. But we'll start off with a few. Chiefs will win by a flag, Bob. Yeah, that's probably not wrong there. Couple of news items, of course, the NFL honors were last night. And the big news coming out of there, of course, is Kevin O'Connell winning Coach of the Year. The collective Detroit Lions fan base is all butthurt now because Dan Campbell did not win it. But like I told one of them today on Twitter X when they were whining about it, the Lions performed as expected during the regular season. They were Super Bowl favorites coming
Right.
into that.
Exactly.
So winning coach of the year for doing as expected is like just showing up to work every day and winning employee of the month.
But they had so many injuries on defense right now.
Yeah. Nobody cared about our injuries last year, so Detroit can just go suck it. I'm tired of them. Most of the fan base that's on social media being a bunch of pain in the asses didn't even know Detroit existed before 2023 anyways. So the longtime Detroit Lions fans who dealt with decades and decades of pain, as to I feel for them, but the bandwagon fans can just go get bent.
Yeah, you know what though? I was always out of any of the teams in the division. Detroit's one of the teams I always respected until their fans.
Until about 2 years, until
Yeah.
last year. But yeah, Kevin O'Connell, and then of course some wording coming out afterwards that was part troll by the Detroit Lions fan base and part kind of miscommunication that sent Vikings media and stuff into a tizzy. Even the big name guys, Kevin Seifert and those, but there was a Sam Darnold comment made in the Kevin O'Connell's post award show thing, and it was taken as that Sam Darnold is coming back. It was clarified later that Sam has earned the right to be a free agent, but the Vikings are still talking to him, so on and so forth, yada yada yada.
I don't think we're still talking to him, but I don't think that we are. I think the plan was in place before the season started this last year for Darnold to play 1 year here and then walk. And they've marked my words, and I've said this before on this show, but I believe Quessy and Kevin O'Connell have had a 3-year plan, and they've stuck to it every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, and some of this is, Kevin O'Connell obviously respects Sam Darnold for what especially for what he did for the most part during the regular season, the last 2 games notwithstanding. And some of this is probably just a little bit to try to help drive up his market a little bit. But Darnold is going to go elsewhere this year. I would be surprised if he comes back. And this is going to be J.J. McCarthy's team. We've talked about that a lot before. Yeah. Dan can be out there rolling in the snowbanks for the next few months here, because he has nothing else to do. So,
it's like a picture of Scarface at the table.
Yeah. But while we're on the J.J. McCarthy thing, there is one thing I have to bring up to this week, and we talked about it on the Gallerhorn group. I posted it yesterday. Frickin' Mike Greenberg on his nationally syndicated show came up with this harebrained, fucking stupid-ass idea. Trade J.J. McCarthy for Myles fucking Garrett. Straight up. Who said, and then, of course, after that, Orlovsky piles on and says that when they do that, instead of bringing Sam Darnold back, go trade for Matt Stafford.
Why is there so much speculation about us trading J.J. McCarthy?
Because the Vikings aren't allowed to have fucking nice things.
So stupid.
We are not going to trade our quarterback that we picked 10th overall last year in this past draft.
First time we ever picked a quarterback.
The highest quarterback we ever drafted. We are not going to trade him before he plays a regular season fucking snap. And we are not going to trade him for a goddamn edge rusher, which is the deepest position we have on this team.
And you know what? J.J. McCarthy is going to show everyone why this season we did not trade him to anyone.
Right. That J.J. McCarthy is going to be the quarterback for this team for the foreseeable future. And I am sick and fucking tired of the national media trying to run every player that, with potential or good player out of town just because they play for Minnesota.
It's stupid. It's stupid. Let's trade all of our good players away all the fucking time.
I sound irritated, Sarah. Yes, I'm irritated, and it just drives me fucking nuts. And I know you guys see it all the time too, and it just. I know I'm preaching to the choir with you guys, but I just had to get it off my freaking chest because it's just been driving me nuts the last 2 fucking days. And then go get Matt fucking Stafford.
No.
I mean, I've always liked Matt Stafford. Don't get me wrong on that, but
he's aging out.
You're going to trade away a 22-year-old quarterback to go get a 37-year-old quarterback?
No.
Yeah, great fucking idea, Greenie. Dipshit. Good God. All right, I'm going to move on.
I don't want to put all of our fucking marbles into one basket with one quarterback for one fucking good year. No.
This team has done that for decades. Pretty much ever since, well, realistically, once Tommy Kramer started getting older, I mean, then you went Tommy Kramer, Wade Wilson, Rich Gannon, Sean Salisbury. Then they go through some of this stuff, and then we got Dante Culpepper, and he was there for 4 years till he, blew his knee up.
No,
and then it was the revolving door of ass quarterbacks over and aging quarterbacks and all this crap over and over and over again.
Quest and KOC are doing things different here now.
Yeah. Norris Face, exactly. And that's exactly what there's no how much you want to bet on that Norris Face. That's what happened. It was said that he was pushing it a little too hard in his rehab and it got inflamed and they had to go give him an injection. I saw an interview with an orthopedic surgeon that said this is a very common thing that happens, especially if people try to do a little bit too much too soon coming back from that.
The kid is a hardwired winner.
They are already saying, Kwesi has said it and KOC both have said it, that there are almost no restrictions right now on J.J. McCarthy. He's out there doing everything that he needs to do. He's fully mobile. He's doing all of his stuff, and he's going to be ready.
People act like he tore his ACL.
I even heard that. Some one of these national
people
doing their too early mock draft stuff put in there about the Vikings getting somebody because J.J. McCarthy tore his ACL and might not be ready. It was a fucking meniscus. And he had one surgery, not two. I've heard everything from he's had multiple surgeries to his fucking leg fell off, for Christ's sake. I mean, good God.
Players, he's a rookie, but most players, a lot of them, if they tear their meniscus in training camp, they're back in the fucking game, back midway through the season or 9-10 games in.
Well, he could have had the trim done and been back after 6-8 weeks.
Exactly.
They were playing it
minds over this meniscus tear, and like they're treating it like it's an ACL tear, like we said, and it's not.
No, absolutely.
Look what Greenway did after his ACL tear his next year in the league.
Well, yeah, and he was healthy the rest of his career.
Exactly.
National Clowns have no idea, Norris. Absolutely, they do not, and it's dry. It's just idiotic. And people get from other fan bases coming. Why do you get so fired up? Because I don't see this kind of stupid shit talked about any other team out there.
That's just it. Especially in the last year and a half.
Yeah, they're not talking about the Detroit Lions need to trade Jared Goff and go get frickin' Derek Carr, or Patrick Mahomes needs to get his ass out of Kansas City and go to Las Vegas.
Nothing. None of that's ever talked about. Yeah, I seen that too. That's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just it's asinine. That's the best word I can come up with.
I'm telling you what, Rhino, this organization is about to flip the script.
Yeah, I fully believe that. But anyway, let's move on here because I've been ranting for 15 minutes about this stupidity. So, there you go. But yeah, the other thing, of course, mentioned earlier, Jared Allen also officially announced as part of the 2025 NFL Hall of Fame class. So congratulations to Jared Allen.
No shit, Nick.
One of the Lions. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, because we were gonna trade Kevin O'Connell 2 weeks ago. So yeah, they should trade Dan Campbell.
Just fucking stupid.
Robert, good evening. So yeah, congratulations to Jared. Of course, still no Jim Marshall, which is one of the greatest tragedies in all of sports history. But we'll keep pushing for that, and I just hope that Jim gets in there.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you guys always bring it to comments. I love this, and having it down here where everybody can see it too. If you're not paying attention on the side, so
taint paint.
Taint paint. I don't need taint paint. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? We talked about it last week. Vikings, of course, having a ton of free agents of their own that they're either going to have to re-sign or replace. So we thought this week we would take a look at
Jared Allen. That would be fucking sweet, Nick.
It has to. You can't have Jared Allen without a mullet.
That would be fucking sweet. I hope they do.
You got to have it, absolutely. But yeah, we're going to look at some of the main positions of need and some of the names out there that the Vikings could potentially target. So let's start off with the cornerback position. Of course, the only ones on roster that we're going to have as of right now is Blackman, McLaughlin, and maybe a couple of other whatever names. Gilmore probably retiring. Shaq Griffin could be back, and Byron Murphy looking at a huge payday. Now I went on Spotrac, and they have a market value number for a lot of these guys. So I pulled that up just to kind of give it a reference point. Now, granted, this is not a guarantee as to what these guys are going to get, but it kind of puts it in perspective. So let's start off with Byron Murphy, since he's already on the team. Spotrac has him getting a 4-year, $88.4 million contract, $22.1 million average annual value.
See, I think we laid it out pretty well last week. If we can find some good corners on the outside to complement Murph in the slot, I mean, that's the best route to go. I'm all for keeping Murphy around as long as we keep him in the same type of positions he was in last year, where he's making plays down in the slot, covering those, slot receivers, from the nickel position.
Yeah, but I have a hard time paying $22 million a year for a slot corner.
Yeah. But you know what? He played as one of the best slot corners in the league.
He did. I mean, he did, but I mean, I
get you too.
So, I mean, looking at some of these other guys here, let's start off with the guy I'm looking at, and I think this is would be a very good pickup for the Minnesota Vikings. Probably the top guy out there right now, outside corner. Jets cornerback DJ Reed. He's only 28 years old. Spotrac has him at a 4-year, $58.6 million contract, 14.7. If you can get DJ Reed for 14.7, I take that over Murphy and his $22 million.
What if you could get both?
Then you're not going to get some of these other guys on the list that we're talking about. So, I mean, there's some other guys here on this list I think would be good. I still would like to bring Shaq Griffin back. I
like that youth. I like that youth. And then, obviously bringing Shaq Griffin back, that's But, we've been in dire need for corners, for a while. And with Murph and Reeder both coming into their primes, I mean, that could be a good combination there for a long time.
So here's a couple other names, that I'll throw out here just to see what you think about it. Carlton Davis, currently with the Detroit Lions, same age as DJ Reed, 28 years old. They have him pegged at a 3-year, $41.3 million contract, 13.8 average annual value.
The thing I got with Davis is, can he stay healthy for an entire season? That's just it. He's got great talent there at cornerback. He's definitely the best corner there in the Detroit locker room. But the thing with me is can he stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the 87 defensive players they had on IR at the end of the season. But Yeah,
Yeah,
Drew.
I agree, Drew.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why DJ Reed is at the top of at or near the top of my free agent wish list, because if you get him for 14 million, yeah, you make that deal and you do it. I think.
Yeah, and he's somebody I could definitely see, and he could play inside and outside just as well.
Yeah,
Intermittent.
and the thing of it is, he's young enough where you're going to be able to sign him to a 3-year contract or something. They've got him here listed at, again, as a 4-year contract. He's 31, 32 years old by the time that contract is up, so he's still.
And he's been a guy that came into the league that played like a veteran. He was no
Yeah.
slouch coming into the league. He's always been one of the better corners in the league, in my opinion.
Yep. Next guy, then, we talked about Davis. We talked about DJ Reed. Chavarius Ward, a name that's been put around a little bit. 30 years old, out of San Francisco right now. They've got him at 3 years, $45.9 million, 15.3 average value.
I mean, he's a little bit long in the tooth. It just depends on what they decide to do. I mean, Flores is okay with bringing some of these vets in, as proven this last season. But he's a good cornerback. I wouldn't be against. Yeah, that's true, Josh.
I agree. I agree 100%. Disgusting act. Hilton I didn't have on my list, but definitely an option as well. Javarius Ward at 30. He's a little older than the kind of guy Quasi typically likes, but
and corners don't. A lot of corners, I should say, because I mean, Gilmore was just here and he played a pretty good season. A lot of corners die off after, just like a running back does, off shortly after they're 30.
Yeah, so giving Ward a 3-year contract at 30, I'm a little leery about something like that. I would rather give DJ Reed at 28 a 4-year deal than I would Ward a 3-year deal at 30.
And let us remind people that we got Blackman coming back as well. I mean, we mentioned it earlier before, but I mean, Blackman's coming back. But then again, there's some question marks there too with Blackman as well. As we've seen some good stuff his rookie year, but missing that second year is pretty big. Especially at that position.
Yep. Yeah, Norsevius, I would tend to agree. Not so much the money, but the contract term. I wouldn't give him a 3-year deal.
No, that's just it, yeah.
Ward would be a 1 to 2 year guy, and that's about all I would sign him for. This next guy, though, this is the last cornerback I have on my list. I kind of like this guy. Doc, we just got started, so you didn't miss a whole lot other than my explosive rant earlier about trading McCarthy. But Asante Samuel Jr., 25 years old, coming off his first contract. Now, this is a guy that's right in that wheelhouse of what Quasi likes to go find as far as free agents.
I'd be down for sure.
They have him listed for 4 years, $45.9 million, 11.5 average annual value.
I'm in.
Yeah, I like Samuel. I think he would probably fit in here, and he's got that youth, but he's still got experience because he's played his full.
Yeah, I'm definitely
first contract.
Samuel as being the guy that we bring in. You could potentially get Samuel and Reed.
You can get Samuel and Reed almost for not much more than what you would pay just Byron Murphy.
Exactly. So I mean, you bring in those two guys, and then I mean, Samuel and Reed would be a godsend in my opinion if we could bring in both those guys.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I got for cornerbacks. There are others out there. Obviously, I just kind of went through some of the more well-known names and kind of going through some of that stuff. But next on the list, and I set these up kind of in my order of importance, is kind of what I thought. Guard is the next one on the list. Starting off, of course, with the sexy name for the free agent market this year. Trey Smith, guard out of Kansas City. He's 26 years old. Spotrac has him getting a 4-year, $78.8 million contract, putting it at 19.7 average annual value.
I was kind of talked out of that last week, this Trey Smith guy. I mean, there's other guys on this list too that I would have.
Well,
Trey Smith.
Trey Smith is going to get overpaid. I think he's good. He's the guy that everybody wants, and there's a lot of teams that need interior offensive line. The Bears need it. We need it. And that's just in our division alone. And there's plenty of other places where he can go
Right.
and big dollar. So I think we're probably going to get priced out of the Trey Smith thing. So we got a few other ones here that we're looking at. The next guy here, this was kind of the big name that came from the chat last week. Will Freeze from Indianapolis. He's 27 years old. They have him at a 4-year, $56.5 million contract, 14.1.
This guy. Yes. Fries.
Yeah, he's a guy I think that they should definitely take a look at. He's a little more reasonably priced. And he's played well in Indianapolis. I mean, Indy's had a pretty decent offensive line for the most part. So, I mean, he's definitely a guy I have on my list. Here, the next guy, then Mekhi Becton, 26 years old, playing with Philadelphia currently. They have him 4 years, 40.9, which is a 10.2 average value. Now, he was a tackle and was at the point of flaming out. They moved him into guard, and he's played pretty well for the Eagles this year.
I go Fries over him.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely keep my eye on Becton though. If things get into that point, you can you got to have multiple options, and I think he would be one. But next guy, little bit cheaper here, but still a decent guard. You're starting to trend down a little bit here more, but James Daniels with Pittsburgh, 27 years old. They have him at a 2-year, 15.5 contract, 7.8 average annual value. He's not one of those guys that's going to come in and be your answer. He's a guy that could come in and play. Okay. I mean,
Do you think he's a step above Brandel?
I think he's a little bit of kind of a little better version of a Dalton Reisner, but he's a better run blocker, I think, than Reisner is. So, that's starting to trend more, like I said, towards we didn't get the guys we wanted, but we need somebody kind of a thing.
I'm thinking that we're going to go with Brandel next year, and that we're going to address the center and guard position somewhere here, whether it be free agency or the draft.
Yeah,
that's going to be the case.
I don't want to try to fix the interior offensive line in the draft because we've seen that so many times where it doesn't pan out, it takes 2 to 3 years for a lot of these guards to get up to speed in the NFL, especially now, going from the college game to the pro game. There's so much of a difference. It takes them a while. So I would rather fix that in free agency.
Yeah. We had brought that up last week too about just going.
There's 2 other guys on the list here. Now, these are older guys that they're good players, but you're probably only going to get another year, maybe 2 out of them. First guy is Zach Martin, 34 years old, from Dallas. They have him at a 1-year deal at $9.1 million. Disgusting act. How many of the 3 do we replace? I think you got to replace at least 2 of them.
I think it's 2. Yeah, that was 2. And I think it's going to be the center, and I think it's going to be the right guard. And I think they're going to try to keep Brandel plugged in at that left guard spot, especially if you got Darisaw coming back, because he played a lot better when he had Darisaw to the left of him than he did Cam Robinson.
Yeah. That's absolutely correct, Drew, on that one.
Speaking of Ant, he's not in here tonight.
No, I haven't seen him yet, but buy O-line, draft D, Norris Vias, I agree with that 100%. Next, then the other guy would be stealing one from a division rival, Kevin Zeitler, 35 years old, currently with Detroit. They have him at a 1-year, $9.2 million.
I mean, Zeitler is proven he's a decent guard, but that he is getting to be quite old.
Yeah, I said Zeitler. There again, that would be a 1-year fix, and I don't want a 1-year fix this offensive line.
No, I don't either.
No, I want to get some of these younger guys, a Freeze or a Becton or somebody like that, or Trey Smith, same age group, a guy that you can plug in there and is going to solidify that spot for the next 5 years.
Right. And that's what a good GM does is go get those guys coming into their second contracts,
Yep.
like that to plug in, and then there you go. Then you got a franchise player at that position. So,
yep. All right. So while we're on the offensive line kind of thing, let's move into the centers next. Of course, we all want to get rid of Garrett Bradbury. We all want to move on. We all want to find something better there. So a couple names here. This one was a big one that was brought up last week as well. Ryan Kelly, the center from Indianapolis, 32 years old. They have him sitting at a 1-year, $10.1 million contract.
I wonder if we could package him and fucking fries together, and continuity there too is good.
Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Now,
right.
Again, he's getting a little bit long in the tooth. I don't think he's a long-term fix. Now, and I made this comment last week, having that veteran presence at center,
yes,
would help a basically rookie quarterback out. So having
an extra set of eyes right there in your center, it really is.
Mm-hmm. Bob, with Bradbury, it's not the weight, it's the leverage. He can't get leverage, and it doesn't matter if you're 400 pounds. If you can't get leverage, you're going to get pushed around.
And arguably, leverage is the biggest thing at the center position.
Right, and that's where Bradbury struggles. He's smart. He can call the protections. He can do all of that. He just can't pass block.
He's athletic as hell for a center, but the dude just can't fucking pass block.
No,
right,
he can't. So here, then we'll move on to another one. This is kind of an interesting one here. Josh Myers, center from Green Bay, 27 years old. They have him getting a 3-year, $23.2 million contract, 7.7 average annual value.
I mean, we have a history of bringing over players from division rivals.
Yeah. I mean, how much of an upgrade is Myers over Bradbury?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't get forklifted, I guess, as frequently, but he's a okay center, but he's not a guy that
20 pounds of leverage.
Now he just needs to keep his ass low and get underneath the pad level. That's the problem. He's up too high, and they get underneath him and push him around. A small guy can get underneath a big motherfucker and push him all over the place if you get the right leverage on him.
Rhino, I mean, we've been talking, like we said last week, we've been talking about it since we started the show. We've been out on Bradbury. So.
Now here's a guy, my Chris Collinsworth imitation there. The guy that I'm
about to talk about is the guy that I have a lot of interest in.
Yeah. Drew Dahlman, 26-year-old center out of Atlanta. They have him at 3 years, $20.4 million, which is only $6.8 million.
That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all.
No, if you can get Drew Dahlman for under $7 million, you make that deal right away.
Yes.
I like Dahlman. He's a good player. I think Brian Kelly. I think Ryan Kelly is a little bit better, but again, Dahlman is a guy you can install in there for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Dahlman's still just about to hit his peak as a player.
Another guy coming off his first contract.
Yes.
Ryan Kelly is probably a 2-year, maybe 3 at most. But
I truly believe that offensive line can be fixed in one offseason if you go out and get the right guys.
Good evening, Chevy. Yes. Yeah, I agree. And so, I mean, I'm big on Drew Dahlman. I think he's a guy we should be looking at. So, and like I said, I'd be okay with Kelly as well. It's just Drew. I think so too. If you can get him for 7, that's an absolute fucking steal.
Anything under 10 mil a year is an absolute steal, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is what Spotrac is coming up with. I'm coming off it, but yeah, I'm in on Dahlman, especially at that price.
Dahlman and Kelly, man, One or two, A and B, right there for me.
Now here's this last guy is an interesting deal. I didn't know he was a free agent. Now they have him contract wise. They have him as a guard, but he played center last year for the Arizona Cardinals. Tristan Colon, 26 years old. They have him get a 3-year, $49.7 million contract, 16.6 average annual value.
That's a little steep for me.
For a center, yeah, you're not paying a center $16 million. Like I said, they have his contract graded as a guard, but he played center. He might have played both, but I mean, the position flexibility is nice. So I mean, maybe you put him more towards that guard area than you do the centers, but. Norsevius has a Willie Lampkin guard, UNC, 5'11", 270. Yeah. Undersized, short and undersized, but if you can get leverage on a guy, absolutely. Now, am I going to go draft a 5'11", 270-pound center? Probably not, but he would be a guy probably that's going to show up later on in the draft that you want to bring in as a developmental guy. Yeah, sure, but yeah, you don't lose on a block, and that's the point I was trying to make out. The entire time is that if you got leverage, you got the anchor. A small guy can take out those big guys, but we've seen it time and time again. You get these big, powerful edge rushers. Your Dexter Lawrences, your Kenny Clarks, your all of those guys that
true nose tackles.
Yeah, or not even just nose tackles. The interior, on a 4-3, just your 3 techs even.
Your athletic defensive tackles.
Yeah, athletic guys that can move, and Bradbury fails miserably most of the time against these guys. But though, since we're speaking about defensive linemen, let's move on to that as our next.
Before we move on, isn't Brandon Scherf available as a free agent too? I wouldn't mind taking a look at him.
Scherf is a guard, but he's like another one that's long in the tooth. He's up in his 30s now. And I don't think he played that well this year, just from what I saw of him. So I didn't put him on that list just because I think he might be cooked.
Okay.
So, but he is an option out there as well. So I know 3-4 years ago, everybody was looking at, let's go get Brandon Scherf. And 3-4 years ago, but the way he played, I mean, it's I think that ship has kind of sailed. Yeah, thanks.
All right.
I knew he was over 30, but I wasn't quite sure where he was at there. A disgusting act, absolutely. Yeah. Case in point, Dahlman isn't much bigger than Bradbury is, but he knows how he's able to get that leverage, and he's a lot better player.
Just like Lindenbaum. Lindenbaum's about the same size as Bradbury too, but he's able to get that leverage.
Yeah. But let's move on to the defensive line. One thing we could use a big nasty nose tackle, and we definitely need somebody who can rush the passer off the interior defensive line. So a few guys here. Now this guy is kind of he might end up being more of a 3-4 edge rusher than he is a defensive tackle. He plays in the 4-3 right now, but Josh Sweat from Philadelphia, 28 years old. They have him at a 3-year, $56.5 million contract, 18.8 average annual value.
Yeah, he's more of like an athletic freak that you could put along anywhere along that line, just depending on what you're looking at doing. So
yeah, and like I said, he would probably in the 3-4 project more out to be an edge rusher, which is something we don't need. But if you can move him or somebody in to get that interior rush a little bit more, I think he'd be a guy worth looking at. Javon Kinlaw currently with the Jets is another guy. They didn't have a contract value on him, but he's a guy that's
decent guy. Yeah, he's decent for sure.
He's a good player, and is somebody that could be an upgrade definitely over a Jonathan Bullard or somebody like that. So
right, or artillery or whatever.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't have the money 3 years ago. Absolutely. that's we would have had the offensive line fixed at that point if we could have done something like that back then.
Yeah, I touched on that last week. Was we just haven't had the money to go out and fix this offensive line.
Yep. Yeah, Bob, it's snowing here too. I know they're talking potentially 6 inches by morning, so that's what she said.
There we go.
Next guy on the list, though, Levi Onzawerke from Detroit, 27 years old. They have him getting a two-year, $9.1 million contract, 4.5 average annual value.
Who was that?
Onzawerke from Detroit.
Okay.
And it's a pretty cheap deal. He's not going to give you a ton of pass rush.
Has he ever been a full timer though? I don't think so.
Yeah, he was this year, but of course, they lost half the people. He's going to be another one of those that's maybe a Tillery-esque type guy kind of thing. So I just threw him out there just because of that. The other guy, another one of these weird names that's hard to pronounce, Oza Oguzie, the guy from Dallas, 26 years old. They have him at 3 years, 62.9, 21 million average annual value.
See, I'd be more on him than the other guy.
Yeah. He is a very good defensive lineman, and would be one of those guys that would definitely be an upgrade. But Kinlaw had injury stuff with the Niners. George, and I said he's
when healthy, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. So I wouldn't be against it, but Oguzie, he's a guy I definitely want to keep my eye on. I think he's going to be one of the top tackles, defensive tackles in the free agency this year. So again, the price tag's going to be up there. But next guy on the list, this is another one of those. This is kind of the big nasty in the middle that we've been talking about, and we've talked about this guy before. Tierra Tart was with Tennessee, now played last year with the Chargers.
I think you'd be able to get him for a decent price.
They have him at a 1 year, $5.1 million contract.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
We saw him when, 2 years ago when they came in and when the Titans were here for the joint practices and stuff, and he was eating Bradbury's lunch, which doesn't take much. A Girl Scout could eat Bradbury's lunch, but he's a guy I thought maybe they would have been in on when he became a free agent. Or when Tennessee released him, but I don't remember if he got claimed or if we just didn't have interest at the time. I don't know, but
right.
Yeah, Greenlaw tripped on the chalk line toward his Achilles. Yeah. Oh, Lance has a fan in here again. Next guy on the list, DJ Hill out of Cincinnati. He's 30 years old. They have him pegged at 2 years, $18 million, so $9 million average annual value.
I'm all in on Hill too. I like me some Hill.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. Again, getting up there a little bit, but maybe a 1 to 2. Kwesi likes doing these 1 to 2 year deals on a lot of these guys. He might be a guy that might fit that bill. Next guy, DJ Jones out of Denver, 30 years old right now. They have him at 1 year, $11.2 million.
I'd rather go after Hill, to be honest with you, if that's the case.
Yeah. It's an option anyway, but just curious. Yes.
I was a defensive tackle. I wanted to be a lineman, but it just wasn't in the coach's plans for me.
I played at a very small school, so we had to we had to do it Ironman, play both sides. So I played defensive tackle, I played guard, I played some center, I played a little bit of tackle. So yeah, I kind of moved around most of the places. So yes, long answer short. Detroit fan here crying. Ryan, good evening. Welcome to the show. Happy to have fans of any fan base here watching. Bring the discussion. Just don't be an asshole, and we're good. So that's we're uncensored. We don't have many rules. So, but let's move on to the running backs. This is another one. I think. What do you think of JJ? You talking JJ McCarthy? Yeah, he's going to be our guy next year. Lance and I are both huge on McCarthy.
Huge.
I think we're looking forward to it. So Norsevius was a 9-man Ironman here too. Yep. But anyway, let's go on to the running backs. Of course, Aaron Jones has publicly stated multiple times that he would like to be back in Minnesota. He's a winner, Ryan. Yes, he absolutely is, and that's one of the things I love about him.
It's in his DNA, man.
It is. He's lost 3 games since high school. I mean, that's
people are about to find out.
George, where's the tip jar? YouTube is not letting us do that yet for some reason or another. I don't know why, because they suck and they've demonetized us a few times because of stupid things. But
because we're uncensored.
Yeah. But anyway, Aaron Jones, they have him pegged at a year for $5.6 million. I'd look at bringing him back for that. I'm not paying him what we paid him this year, but should have.
I really hope we hit running back in the draft.
And, yeah, I think that's the thing. But I wouldn't mind bringing in. Having a vet presence as that number 2 running back.
Jordan Mason, Najee Harris, right there. Boom, done.
Yeah. Well, Najee Harris is the next guy on the list. We can talk about him. 27 years old. They have him 3 years, $27.5 million, 9.2 average value.
I'm down with that. Those are some good numbers for the running back position, especially when it's on the rise.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not as high on Najee Harris as you are, but I
think, like Drew said last week, in the right system, in the right personnel, Najee Harris could be a beast in this league.
Yeah, but
look at Marshawn Lynch in Buffalo when he first came into the league, and look what happened when he went to Seattle. Not saying that Najee Harris is Marshawn Lynch by any means, but that the traits are kind of the same there.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just not a huge Norsevius. I agree. I'm not a huge Najee Harris guy, but I mean
Jordan Mason though. Which I'm sure you're getting to here.
Yeah, I got him on the list. They actually have him only at a 1-year, $1.7 million contract. I pay that.
Deal.
Yeah, I would pay that and not think twice about it.
Yeah,
he's going to get more than $2 million because he played very well when McCaffrey was out, and he's got that explosive gear, that we talked about last week that we need to find in a running back.
It's hard to take. You ain't taking down Jordan Mason on that first contact.
No, and he's only 26, so I mean he's still young enough to get. He's got a couple of years in the tank yet of peak time.
The thing, his tires are fresh, fairly fresh.
Yeah. Next guy, AJ Dillon from Green Bay. They have him pegged at 1 year, $2 million. Would kind of be a funny thing to do to get have both Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon as your running back tandem here, but
I don't see any quality there in that pickup. So
no, I really don't either. He missed the entire season this year. Alabama players are pro ready for that. Yeah, they are.
And I don't want to deal with that shit either. Having Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon in our backfield and people being stupid about it.
Yeah, there's that too. Next guy, Nick Chubb out of Cleveland. He's 29 years old. They have him at 1 year, $3.3 million.
Chubb? Yeah. I would be okay with taking a shot on Chubb. I'd take Chubb over Jones, I'll tell you that. No disrespect to Aaron Jones. Love what he did this year for us, but Chubb has got that. Chubb is a proven excellent back when healthy.
Yeah. That's not that isn't a bad list right there, Dylan. Welcome to the show. But by the way, Cam Akers, Jordan Mason, Amara, and Hampton. Yeah, that'd be all right. We'll get into some of the rookie, the drafts and running backs and stuff here as we go along, getting closer. I think that's where the Vikings are going to go.
I agree.
One of their draft picks is in the draft, but is getting a running back, but
I still think we pick up a free agent and then go after back in the draft as well.
I
That's
do.
what
Yeah, I do too. Next guy on the list, and I've heard this name bounce around. Rico Dowdle from Dallas. They have him at
No.
a year 6.2. He's another one that I'm not really a big fan of.
He's a little
Uh,
undersized for me, in my opinion, but
yeah, I mean,
that's just
he's just okay. He's not, if Dowdle had been all that, they wouldn't be bringing back Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook and all these other guys into the,
yeah.
So I'm going to pass on him. A bunch of Steelers fans think they're going to kill it with the new team changes, and it very well might.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, exactly. 70% of our runs last year, the contact was made at the line of scrimmage. So yeah, we got it. Like we talked about earlier with this, and that's why I had center and guard higher on the list than running backs. But I got a couple other guys here. Khalil Herbert, 27 years old. He played, of course, with Chicago before, and then finished the year in Cincinnati.
He'd be a good spell guy, I think.
Yeah, they got him at a 1 year, $2 million deal. Again, he's one of those muddled together guys who can, get you 10, 15 yards or whatever, but he's not.
He packs a good wallop, I think, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. He's an okay player.
Yeah.
Zeke is still with the Cowboys. They released him at the end of the season so he could go catch on with a contender in the playoffs.
He never did.
No, he never did. He was sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
This other guy, though, this one here kind of intrigues me a little bit. Javonte Williams out of Denver. He's only 25. They got him getting a 3-year contract at 20.6, so just under 7 a year.
I guess he'd be third on my list, honestly. I go, like I said, Harris, Mason, and then Javonte Williams, number 3 for me at free agent.
I think I'd put Javonte over Najee Harris, but that's just me. But yeah, I'm still in on Jordan Mason if you can get him. I like that kid, and I think he could give us some, a little bit more of a burst in the run game. Then the last position that we're looking at here, that as it sits right now, we've got one guy under contract. The safety position, of course, we don't know what Harrison Smith is going to do yet. Cam Bynum, the Vikings are talking with him. I think they want to bring him back.
I think Bynum's back. I think Bynum's back. I think I have a hankering. This is my intuition. Brunswick's intuition doesn't mean shit, but I think Smith's coming back for one more year.
Wouldn't surprise me. And I think Flores coming back makes that more likely.
I think it's him chasing a championship, and then also as well self-evaluation and seeing if he can still do. He can still do it at a high level. He hasn't really fallen off the edge.
No, he wasn't a liability this year. He's not going to play. I mean, he's going to have to play at a lesser contract than he played.
He's one of those Ray Lewis type of guys that never really fell off the edge of a cliff, but he still could bring it at a high level later on in his career.
Yeah,
and he's chasing a championship, and he sees the team, and I think we're on the cusp of great things here in Minnesota.
Yeah. Now, I mean, he is 35, so that fall off is going to happen. But Norris would rather keep Murphy over.
No,
I'm going to go the other way. Now, they have Bynum getting a 3-year, $53 million contract sitting at 17.7 average value. That's damn good money for a safety. So I
don't know if I see Bynum having the same kind of fall off as what was his name? Harris a few years back that we sent to Philly that kind of just fell off the map.
Yeah.
I see Bynum still, his best years are still ahead of him, I think. And he's a great locker room guy. And coming out, you could tell he was happy to be here.
Yeah. Next guy on the list, Justin Reed from Kansas City, 28 years old. They have him 3-year, 51.2, 17.1 average value. So coming in just under Cam Bynum.
Who was that? Justin
Reed from Kansas City.
Yeah. I want to see who else you got on this list.
Yeah, all right. Next guy, another Falcon, Justin Simmons, 31 years old. They have him at a 1-year, $5.8 million deal.
Yeah, none of these names are really tickling my fancy at all.
No,
I think the thing is, I think we're bringing back Theo Jackson. I think Theo Jackson's a
yeah,
mainstay.
Theo's a free agent and he's going to come back cheap, and they like Theo Jackson.
They do. They do.
I think Theo is going to have an opportunity as the heir apparent to Harrison Smith, whether it's this year or next year.
Said that last week, and the thing is that every time Theo Jackson takes the field, he makes plays, and he's made some splash plays in his limited snaps.
Yeah. Yeah, he does need to learn to tackle a little better, I think. But next guy on the list here, Julian Blackman out of Indianapolis. He's 26.
Okay.
They have him 3-year, $24 million, $8 million average annual value. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah. He's a name that I am familiar with, and I think he's a decent guy. He's somebody I wouldn't mind bringing in and taking a look at.
Yeah.
Simmons, I'm familiar with too, but
yeah.
But
Simmons he's another guy that's getting up there in age a little bit. He's probably going to be one of those wave 2 or wave 3 free agents that you can, bring in if you don't get the guy that you want earlier on. Next guy on the list here. This one might be of an interest, especially for the connections. Javon Holland, 25 years old, with the Dolphins. They have him at a 4-year, $60.2 million contract, which is like 15.1 average value. There's a Flores connection because I believe his rookie year, I think, was Flores drafted him. And he's a good safety.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see us bringing him in.
So I think that's a name to keep an eye on. This guy here is not so bad, not really a bad name either. Talanoa Hufanga, the kid out of San Francisco. 26 years old. They have him getting 11.9 per year on a 3-year deal.
That's a little high for a safety, I think. But
I mean, when you're looking at some of these other ones, Reed and Bynum, and 17, and Holland at 15.
Yeah.
Next guy on the list, Damar Hamlin, 27 years old, out of Buffalo. They have him at 3.1, 2-year, $6.2 million contract.
No.
Yeah, I mean the guy died, but
I mean, yeah, and I think that
you got to give him credit for that.
That's true, but that doesn't make the. I mean, a lot of people look at that he died, and I mean, he's okay. He's an okay player.
I mean, it's a great story.
That's just it. You know what I'm getting at? Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's a guy, and he wasn't really a full-time guy. I think with Buffalo since he came back either. So he'd be a guy that you maybe would look at as a rotational backup guy, but I don't think you look at him as a starter.
Right.
2 more on the list. Jeremy Chin, 27 years old, with the Commanders. They have him at 3 years, 18.3, so 6.1.
Those are some good looking numbers, and I'd be down with that for sure for Chin. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chin's a pretty decent player. I mean, he played well in Dan Quinn's defense this year. Poor dude dies and still can't. Didn't he get come back? Didn't he get it last year?
No, it was Flacco.
Oh, yeah, Flacco got it. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I mean, that Norris, I got to put that one back up again.
That's the comment of the night right there.
Yeah, I mean, how do you literally die on the football field, come back and play again, and again, tragedy in the NFL, or travesty in the NFL anyway. Last guy on the list, I have Xavier Woods, 29 years old, with the Carolina Panthers.
Hasn't he already played here with us?
I think he was here for a while, yeah.
Yeah, he was here for a couple of years. He's already been here and gone. He's only 29?
29, yeah. I think he left here and went to Carolina. Now,
you'd think he'd be older.
He didn't play for O'Connell and Flores, so he played.
No, he played for Zimmer. It was a couple of years. He was here for 2 years.
Wasn't anything that really set the world on fire when he was here. was okay in spots, but not somebody I really want to look at as a starting safety. I don't think.
I didn't because he was in Dallas before he was here.
He was in Dallas and he came here.
God, he feels like he should be older than 29.
Yeah, no, he's only 29.
Wow.
So, but anyway, that's the list of guys I've got. I mean, we got a wish list there of there's a lot of good players out there, and I think the Vikings are, we have cap space this year, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a thing. We can be in on a lot of these guys.
Right.
And actually get people that can make a difference. Get yourself a Drew Dahlman or a Ryan Kelly. Go get yourself
some cornerstone players.
A Will Freeze or somebody at guard to fill that up. Get yourself a good cornerback, a DJ
and the
Reed.
Thing is, we're already a 14-win team, and O'Connell is a hell of a coach.
Yeah. So, it's going to be free agency should be interesting this year. I mean, Kwesi hit it out of the park last year. We got to give it to him on that. People bitch about his drafts.
No shit. That's what I feel.
Dog years, yeah. We hit it out of the park last year. I mean, Grenard, Van Ginkel, Cashman.
Off season last year, in my opinion, was
Griffin, Aaron Jones, Gilmore. I mean, all those guys were big time contributors this year. So I mean, if we can hit another free agency class like we did last year,
and then finally go out and nail the draft.
Yeah. And, next year, our 2 first-round picks from this past season should play significant roles. So, I mean, that's but anyway, so that's all
for this franchise, I believe.
Yeah, I think so, too. But anyway, that's the players we've got. So, of course, again, we have a little game going on Sunday. Final football game for 6 months. Unless you're into watching the UFL, and then otherwise it's just draft and free agency and all that stuff, which Norris, we talked about that last week. He's a great dude, and he's, one of those, kind of guys that great locker room.
He's almost like a Harrison Smith-esque type of guy as a corner. I mean, as far as this being there, throughout it all.
Yeah, but I mean, it just the money we're paying him and how little we use him.
I mean, significantly use him. Yeah. If we're using him, it's a running play basically. They don't ever hand him the ball.
Discussing Paulson Adebo from the Saints, he's not getting enough attention. I guess I didn't realize he was a free agent, but name to look at. I haven't followed the Saints very much. I mean, their defense was pretty decent. Dennis Allen's a good defensive coordinator. Of course, he's going to be.
You'd think Ham is kind of aging out too. He's got to be long in the
tooth. George doesn't think Jordan Mason's going anywhere. Niners won't let him leave with it. That's entirely possible. Yeah. And we need. I guess we need to footnote all of these guys we talked about tonight with the fact that some of these guys are going to re-sign with their current teams.
Yes.
It could be franchise stuff like that, but this is as we sit.
But I think we're a desired destination for a lot of these free agents, as we have been for the last few years.
Absolutely. I mean, the Vikings as an organization are getting very good throughout the league.
Well, that and we're at the top of the list of a lot of the top organizations to go to with the facilities and all that.
Facilities, you don't have meddling owners that fuck stuff up. You got
good management, good coaching.
You got a guy in Kevin O'Connell that everybody loves. I mean, there was some survey around the league or whatever, of coaches that you'd like to play for, and Kevin O'Connell was right up near the top of that list. So, but anyway,
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. So this will be our last prediction segment for the year. And we might as well make the pick. So who you got winning the big game on Sunday, Lance?
Fuck the Eagles. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of the Chiefs. I'm sick and tired of them panning up to see look at Taylor Swift to get her reaction every time Travis Kelce farts on the fucking sidelines or drinks a cup of Gatorade. But that being said, I hate the fucking Eagles. let me refer. I don't necessarily hate the team so much. It's their fan base does not deserve to win a Super Bowl. They're some of the worst fans, if not the worst fan base in the league, and they've shown it again a couple times. You see in the playoffs, you know, verbally and physically assaulting people and throwing shit at them. And I mean, these are the people who threw a full beer can at 98-year-old Millie back in 2017. You know, some old lady in a wheelchair, and I throw a full beer can at her because she's a Vikings fan. Fuck you guys. So unfortunately, I'm cheering for the meteor, like Norsefius or whoever it was said earlier in the night. But I'm gonna just sit back, just watch the game, not have a rooting interest. I got some buffalo wings and some chicken cream cheese stuffed jalapeno poppers that I'm making, and some of that other stuff to watch the game. So I'm just gonna sit back, watch that. Hopefully, there's some good commercials. You gotta go take an eagle and wipe your Philadelphia. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about them too, Norsefius. But
it was a free beer.
But it was free beer. Good point, Robbie. Yeah, coming in at the end with a great commentary.
Yeah. Our dynasty's coming, though, everybody. Our dynasty's coming. Mark my words.
We will be there. 5 years from now, we'll be the Chiefs, and everybody's going to hate.
People are going to be sick of the Vikings winning all these Super Bowls.
Yep. But anyway, gone a little over an hour here tonight. Had a great crowd tonight. It's been full in the chat all night long. A lot of good comments. You guys bring it every week. Thank you so much again for joining. As always, shout out to the Filipino fan club halfway around the world again, watching again like a boy deer if the Chiefs win. Yeah,
it's a good way to put it.
It is just good, yeah. I want to thank you guys again.
Yeah, I love it, Norse. I love it.
Dynasty, yes, I like that. Minnesota Vikings, your 2025, 2026, 2027, 2029. We'll give him a year that doesn't happen there, and then he can be the next Tom Brady. We can be the next Kansas City Chiefs. We can be the next New England Patriots. Yes. But again, thank you guys for joining as always. Again, we will be back with you next weekend. Not sure if it's Friday or Saturday yet, but we'll keep talking. What's that? Saturday night next week? Okay.
Yep.
So, we'll keep talking free agency. We'll start looking at some draft possibilities here coming up.
We got the Mac draft roundup coming back here pretty soon.
I don't want to do it quite yet because, to Drew, our buddy
let
Drew's
the combine happen first,
and let the free agency happen because somebody might be a big need right now. You might get a DJ Reed or somebody like that, and then we don't need a cornerback anymore. Or you might get you might get a Trey Smith and you don't need a guard or that kind of stuff. So, yes, Norsefius, thank you for the reminder. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on your way out. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter X. Appreciate you guys. We couldn't do this if people didn't show up, so we could, but it'd be kind of sad if we did that. So, but anyway, again, thank you guys. Why don't you take us home, Brunswick, and we'll call it a night.
Love you guys. Love all you guys out there watching the show. Appreciate every single one of you guys. One of the highlights of my week right here, being here with you guys, talking football. With that being said, go Chiefs. And we'll see you guys all next week on another episode of Vikings Uncensored. Skol.
Have a good weekend, everybody.